And we're live. Hello and welcome to the Football Podcast for Wednesday, the 26th of August. I'm joined, as always, by Sergeant Theo Van Zyl to discuss the hottest stories surrounding the footballing world.
Hello, Adam. It's a pleasure to be here, and without further ado, let us commence this podcast.
Indeed, in today's edition of the Football Podcast, we will be covering everything from the European final to the England squad call-ups.
That's right, but we're going to start with the European final here, and we're going to start with the Champions League final. PSG versus Bayern Munich was set to be an absolute thriller, and what was interesting is the fact that it really wasn't. Bayern Munich held out for a 1-0 win. It was the former PSG man, Kingsley Coman, who got the header in the second half, and Bayern Munich just about held out for a victory.
I think that it was. I don't think it was your classic 1-0 game in which there was an early goal and the other team sat back. There was actually a lot of action. It could have been 3 goals to either side. I'd say there was some clear chances. The most obvious one for me right now is that Mbappe scuff. He's proved to be much better than that. But that takes us on to the other European final, the less prestigious one. The Europa League. Sevilla won it for the 6th time, which is the most any club has won the competition. Theo, your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty interesting game actually, because there was lots of debate of whether the match winner Diego Carlos, who scored the third Sevilla goal, from actually it was a lovely acrobatic effort. There's still debate whether it was an own goal from Lukaku, which video reveals that it probably actually was, but without the bicycle kick, Lukaku wouldn't have to put it in his own net in the first place. But lots of debate of whether he should have been sent off for the initial penalty that Lukaku slotted home within the first 5 minutes. Where it seemed there was a bit of cover coming in, but that's definitely open to debate.
Yep. And so that is the European finals covered. Now we move on to arguably the greatest footballer to ever play the game. It's Lionel Messi. He has explicitly told Barca that he wants to leave. And with Manchester City offering him a 3-year deal on, I believe, £350,000 a week, that could be looking increasingly likely. Theo, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is Pep Guardiola and Messi reuniting. They've won titles together, obviously great friends as well. I think there's a highly likely chance that this is happening. I honestly thought when I heard the news that he was gonna go back to Argentina, but clearly not yet. Though he has revealed plans that he probably wants to do that. If he wants to retire at Barcelona, he will definitely retire in Argentina. So clearly, if he goes to Man City, it won't be his final club. So yeah, those are my thoughts. He's taking a big wage cut. Obviously, he gets about 1 million per week base salary plus lots of add-ons, making about 2 million a week, which is ridiculous, if I have to be honest.
Yeah.
But he's an amazing footballer, so that's what you have to pay. And probably PSG are the only other team who can take those wages. They're obviously in the race as well, but it looks like Man City are the front runners for now. But we'll keep you posted on this news.
So now over to West London, the Chelsea Blues, to be specific. There's a lot of transfer news over there. Kai Havertz has a medical coming up, and Chilwell is at Cobham as we speak, and Lampard wants Thiago Silva to be the club captain after Thursday's medical. Your thoughts, Theo?
Yeah, so this is a lot of news coming in. We've known about these rumors for a very long time, specifically Kai Havertz. This has been going on for a while, but finally Chelsea have made the breakthrough. They've offered Bayer Leverkusen £72 million initially, plus 18 million in add-ons. That's adds up to the 90 million that Leverkusen quoted Chelsea all those months ago. when negotiations began. But now Chelsea have finally made that offer so many months later, and he's set to complete his move to Chelsea in the coming days. Over to Ben Chilwell, and he's, yeah, obviously, as Adam said, he's at Cobham right now, so this is huge news. He should be announced as a Chelsea player. Could be minutes, could be hours. Definitely within daylight. So that's really exciting news for Chelsea fans out there. And then there's Thiago Silva. Azpilicueta may not be the Chelsea captain anymore after he arrives after Thursday's medical with Chelsea, which is pretty big news, actually. Azpilicueta obviously has been at the club since 2012, so I don't know if he deserves that, but obviously Thiago Silva is a very experienced defender, and I think he can really help those young players like Tamori, Christensen, Zuma, and Mbuyamba, who was signed on a free deal from Barcelona, and Malang Sarr, who is about to join Chelsea probably tomorrow as well with Thiago Silva, who will probably be loaned out immediately. So yeah, that's the latest news on Chelsea.
Yep. I mean, we do recall, I think if you look back about a couple of months ago in one of our podcasts, Abramovich said he was willing to splash the cash. And well, with 19 millions, with his biggest signing being Kai Havertz for 90 million, and two other high-profile players coming in, you can. I mean, that I think that the total price for all those signings will be upwards of 150 million. And if that's not splashing the cash, I do not know what is. But unfortunately, we have to move over to some sad news. Harry Maguire has been dropped from the England squad, falling, being found guilty of aggravated assault, resisting arrest, and attempts of bribery. He is going to be serving 21 months in prison, which is a big blow for both Manchester United and the England squad. Theo, your thoughts?
Yeah, so just to clarify, he's serving 21 months of suspended prison sentence, which means if you were to commit any further acts, then he would obviously spend the rest of that sentence in prison. At the moment, he won't, which is good news for him, but he has been dropped from the England squad. Gareth Southgate says it's the best for both parties. Obviously, bringing that pressure and that tension to the training camp is obviously not what the England manager wants. And I think it's a good move, though I do think it is relatively disgraceful that Harry Maguire attempted to bribe the police after attempting to beat one up after he turned on the police in a brawl in Mykonos bar in Greece. And then after that, he still defiant after being found guilty and pleading not guilty. And the fact that Manchester United haven't taken responsibility and accepted his sentence, they're still being defiant. They're still saying they're going to appeal what's going on. I think, honestly, this is not a heat of the moment statement, but I honestly think he should be stripped of his captaincy at Manchester United. Because if you're the captain of a big side like this, you have to be setting an example, and I don't think that was a great example to the rest of the Manchester United players.
I mean, yes, definitely. I think being stripped of captaincy is the least that Manchester United should be doing. I know that he was a 75 million signing, but honestly, it's disgraceful. If I was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer right now, I think I would do my best to. I mean, I by no means condone these acts, so I would be trying to, if anything, get him out of the club to avoid him having any impact on his fellow players. But moving on, after an 8-2 thrashing at the Stadium of Light in Lisbon, Barca fans are urging Bartomeu to leave the club. Kike Setien has already been sacked and replaced by Ronald Koeman. So what are your thoughts on this Barca situation, Theo?
Yeah, interesting because I think the moment Barcelona began to see that downfall, they were at the height. And then the moment they started to plummet into one of the worst of their downs ever is when they put up that ridiculous release clause on Neymar, and then obviously PSG took it. I think that was the beginning of the end for Barcelona. I think Ronald Koeman can, if he's given enough time, he can rebuild this Barca squad. Uh, Obviously, if he can make some signings, I don't know who. I think removing Artur and replacing with Pjanic was absolutely it was pure stupidity. Really, really bad business making. Juventus have gone absolute steal with Artur. So I don't see a way out for Barcelona without Messi. So, and the fact that he's told him that he wants to leave would suggest that there's no way out for Barcelona at this point.
Yeah, as you say, it was the beginning of the end, and they have played some great football, but I think that when they really began to plummet, they were already going downhill, but when they really began to plummet was, if you recall last season, Messi gave a speech promising Barca fans that the Champions League trophy would be returning to the Camp Nou. Um, Obviously, we all know what happened. That we all had great hopes for them, but after, especially after winning 3-0 at home, but then the famous 4-0 comeback really set Barcelona into a downward spiral, and since then the situation has only become worse. But onto some better news to end off the podcast. Phil Foden, Mason Greenwood, and Calvin Phillips all received their first call-ups to the England squad, which is great. Danny Ings and Dean Henderson have also been called up. However, Grealish has not been chosen. I mean, it was expected, these names, right, Theo?
Yeah, surprising. Again, like in our previous podcast when we were doing our Premier League predictions, that Danny Ings was called up here. I think he, without question, deserved it. And I think it's interesting because you don't really see Danny Ings as a star player. Yet he does fantastic things. He's done fantastic things with Southampton last season, and I think he'll continue to do fantastic things even though he's past 30. But I think he deserves it more than anyone at that center forward position. I think he's had a better season than Harry Kane. Marcus Rashford's been doing great. Mason Greenwood also deserves it completely. 18 goals for an 18-year-old is fantastic. So I think that was well deserved. Phil Foden, this is going to be huge for his confidence going forward, especially after he always has to. David Silva just passed on the baton for him to continue running that 100-mile race to the finish line of his career. So, I think this is going to be really big for his confidence going forward, and I think it's going to help him with his career as well. Calvin Phillips was a great midfielder for Leeds last season. I think he deserves it as well. He could be a very useful asset, especially while Henderson is injured. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the England call-ups.
I think it's great for those three. It's not just Henderson that's injured, but Oxlade-Chamberlain also injured. Um, so I think that for the three of those, it should boost their confidence. Dean Henderson, we already know how his talent, being the star of Sheffield United, despite being their goalkeeper. And Grealish not being chosen is not much of a surprise. We're not denying that he's a great talent, national squad worthy, but I think that just for the sake of squad rotation, with him also being relegated, with him also avoiding relegation, sorry, with Villa, I think that it only makes sense to not choose him.
Yeah, I don't think
So,
we. Yeah, we didn't see enough quality from Jack Grealish this season to really carry Aston Villa to great heights. But that does conclude this podcast. If you did enjoy this video, leave a like on it. If you will, if you're new, please do subscribe as well to help us out. And goodbye from Adam.
indeed, goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me. Bye bye.